Okay.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
We'll begin on the bottom of page 343 or 647. Ya la la, 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 ya la la.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Our wonderful pianist is over there tonight. Jacob Richter, there you are, Jake. We've moved instruments from that side to this side. So if you're looking for our accompanist, he's right there. And of course, it's wrong to ever say that anyone could ever replace the cantor on Friday night, our cantor Shpal. It's also wrong to say that anyone could ever replace Rabbi Weissman.
That's true.
So thank you for doing this, as always. I know it's a joy for her. She enjoys it, but it's also an extra piece. And always to use your talents this way, we appreciate it. So we just sang these words, Oziva Zimrat Yah, Adonai is my strength and might, and God will be my salvation. Ozi is this word that can mean strength, and Zimra is might, but also Oz means refuge. And Zimra, this word for might, could be also understood as the word related to Zamir or Zemer, meaning song. And so in this hour together, may our songs of praise of God, create a refuge for us in this space. And may our prayers together and our coming together here in this beautiful sanctuary, may we in turn find new strength as we move our way into Shabbat together. And so to begin that process, I want to invite forward Logan Spinner, who's going to become Bar Mitzvah tomorrow, and his parents, to join us on the Bima and to lead us in the lighting of candles and in Kiddush.
Rabbi Morrison's an honorary member of the Spinner family tonight,
yes.
so.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh bereshit, ki hu yom tehila lemikrae kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'harta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
Chaim.
Perfect.
How is it?
It's just delicious.
Mazel tov, Logan.
Nicely done. Mazel tov.
We greet Shabbat with the words of Lecha Dodi on page 20 or 138, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor, b'dibur echad hishmi'anu, el ha'miyuchad Adonai echad, u'shemo echad l'shem u'tiferet, v'litila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor haberacha merosh mikedem, nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, ki ba'orech, kumi uri, shir daberi, vod Adonai, alayich nigla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela.
Ateret bala gam besimcha Uvitzola toch emune am segula Boi chala Boi chala Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekavela Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekavela.
Our call to prayer, page 28 or 146.
Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai.
Sing together the words of the nighttime prayer, roll into dark. You just have to, if you don't know the words, you'll just have to imagine that they flow through your head because they're not in the prayer book, but you'll pick it up or feel free to sing Lai 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 as well.
Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night
seated. We invite forward Aaron and Ander, our B'nai Mitzvah, next week to lead us in the words of the Via Hafta, the teachings from the book of Deuteronomy on page 37.
It's actually 36.
36.
That was my mistake.
One, two, three. Via
Hafta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha v'chol nafshecha v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shenantam levanecha v'dibartam bam v'shivtecha v'techa uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha uv'shartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'einecha uv'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'b'isharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim le'lelechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
Adonai Elohechem.
Amen.
Thank you, guys. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth, prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. The words of Hashkivenu we sing together, page 42.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu Ushmor tzeitenu uvoenu l'chaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim.
Our special song for this Sabbath day. Despite the craziness of the week, we get the blessing of Shabbat each Friday night and Saturday. We sing the words of Vishamru together.
Page 44. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat HaShabbat לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
If you're able, I invite you to rise on page 46 for the opening words of the fila, the Amidah. We'll chant the first three blessings together and then have some opportunity for silent prayer or silent meditation.
תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Yada lai lai lai, 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 yada lai lai lai. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Ata gibor le'olam Adonai, mechaye hakol ata rav lehoshia. Morid hatal, mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim verofech olim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, lishenei afar. Michamocha bal gevurot, umidom melach, melech memit umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata lahachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehallelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. We're on page 60. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha turn to our prayer for healing on page 253 or 371. This is a time when we can picture those that are in need of healing, picture them in our minds, send all of our love and support and strength their way. Today we are especially praying for Yolanda Azucena, Susan Carlson, Sarah Chaskis, Rabia Ergelin, Selena Glader, Ken Glickman, Faith Gobedy, Anita Holtzberg, Moritz Huppert, Marvin Jones, Andreas Judas, Toby Kay, Harold Muckamal, Edwin Alberto Merlos, Eva Norman, Roger Noveski, Michael O'Riordan, Sophia Palazban, Rabbi Lori Phillips, Peggy Pizzo, Karina Rossner, Skiles Rumfer, Howard Schwartz, Shoshana Batchaya, Stephen Avraham Simon, David Baruch Ben Simona, Katie Wilson, and Marie Wolf. If there's someone else you're praying for tonight, please share their names with us. Page 253.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Did anyone start school this week? I'm curious. Teachers, students, couple hands up. Did anyone have kids or grandkids that started school this week? It's a busy back to school time. Anybody start a new school? Anybody do something, a couple new schools? Did anybody's synagogue ask them to give a sermon the day they started school as the head of school? Well, we did that to Neil Tuck, and I apologize. When we assigned it, we didn't realize this would be the week that you were going back to school as the head of school, but we're delighted to invite Neil up to offer our words of Torah tonight. Neil is a longtime member of Beth Am with his wife Adrienne. Come on up. Has worked on the Beth Am board as the Beth Am treasurer and worked on many different parts of the Jewish community, including with the Jewish Communities Relationship Council. Many of you know him, and I think maybe two of his daughters are streaming in from the East Coast. Who knows? So fingers crossed, but it's always a delight to offer our bima to Neil. So.
Shabbat Shalom. I was worried about the sun, but Adrian reminded me I'm not as tall as Rabbi Jonathan, so if the sun hits him, I'm fine. First, I want to thank Beth Am for all the love and support this congregation has given our family over the years. I believe this summer marks the 20th anniversary of our joining the synagogue, and it has been a wonderful part of our establishing a West Coast community. And I am honored and humbled to deliver a Devar Torah tonight. So, on June 10th, 2022, a leader faced an important decision. The decision would need to be made with millions of people around the globe watching. The impact would bring happiness or misery to many. A leader would have to call on their experience, personal relationships, and sense of the moment. What was the right thing to do? What would be the impact? At that moment, Steve Kerr, the coach of the Golden State Warriors, decided to bench one of his star players, Draymond Green, for the most critical part of Game 4 of the NBA championship. As we all know, the move paid off. The Warriors won the game and never lost again on their way to the championship, defeating my beloved Celtics. Kerr faced a difficult decision. He made a tough call, and at least in this case, the decision was the right one. Ever since I became the head of school at Charles Armstrong, I've become fascinated by the topic of decision making. And 2022 has been a big year for decision making in America, with many decisions well beyond the scope of my lighthearted basketball example. President Biden and his advisors had to make critical decisions about how to respond to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, balancing the defense of an overwhelmed ally with the threat of an escalation of war, perhaps even to nuclear levels. The Supreme Court, I thought I'd hear some booing there, or at least 5 or 6 justices, have issued a number of decisions which threaten to upend the way of life in our country and take away protections that have shaped our society for decades. And in under 3 months, voters will once again go to the polls and decide what path to take our country down. In my little part of the world, decisions come fast and furiously. Armstrong is a 2nd through 8th grade independent, or what used to be called private school. Our mission is to unlock the unique potential of students with dyslexia and related learning differences, changing the trajectory of their lives. I'm in my 6th year as a member of the school's leadership team and my 2nd as the head of school. When people think about schools, they think of teachers, books, maybe iPads or computers these days, the playground. But what I did not appreciate until I stepped into a school leadership role is the countless decisions that define a school every day. How to allocate a fixed pool of financial aid, whether or not a student's behavior has gone so far that they no longer should be part of the school community. There are many hard decisions. My message for tonight is hopefully a simple but important one. We need to teach the young people in our lives multitasking there. I'm good. Didn't know my reflexes were still that good. All right, I'm going to start that paragraph again. My message for tonight is hopefully a simple but important one. We need to teach the young people in our lives how to make decisions. We need to model those lessons by showing our own ability to make decisions and our ability to explain our decision making. I see way too many students struggling with the ability to make a decision. And oftentimes they are just mirroring the behaviors they see in the adults around them, teachers, parents, and other trusted adults who feel less than confident in making decisions. So what does Judaism offer in the way of insight into decision making? I am not a rabbi, but I researched the topic preparing for this Devar Torah, and one thing is clear. Jews and Jewish commentary talk a lot more about debating issues and arguing about issues than actually reaching a decision. We Jews love the idea that there is not one answer, that there are multiple interpretations of a text or a story, and we believe that the journey is more important than the endpoint. But sometimes there has to be an endpoint. And Judaism does recognize that. There are a number of teachings which either address or touch on decision making. So let's pause here and throw in a few pieces about what Judaism has to say about decision making. And I'll remind you that I am not a Jewish scholar or, frankly, any kind of scholar whatsoever. First, Judaism believes in free choice. Human beings have the ability to make decisions. God, if one believes in God, does not predetermine how the world will unfold. Maimonides said, and I paraphrase here, only foolish people believe that God decrees from the start whether a person is to be righteous or wicked. Judaism expects people to make righteous decisions not wait to see the will of God. Second, some Jewish commentaries basically say, get on with your decision, stop wasting time. One educator noted, quote, being decisive can be very challenging, especially when there seems to be validity to more than one side of the argument. Perhaps a little indecision in the beginning can be beneficial at times, allowing us to explore our options with an open mind. On the other hand, lack of clarity can slow down, if not stunt, our development, unquote. We learn from making decisions, whether the positive reinforcement of a decision well made or the lessons from a decision that was a mistake. Finally, perhaps one of the most well-known stories about decision-making in the Bible is King Solomon's provocative decision when two women come to him claiming to be a baby's mother. Solomon ordered a servant to fetch a sword so he could, quote, split the baby and give half to each woman. When one of the women says that she would rather see the other woman get the baby than see the child killed, Solomon determines that this must be the true mother. I read several commentaries about this episode, and the one that stuck with me is that Solomon, by using this cruel test, was able to discern the precise nature of the two women who stood in front of him. When a decision involves people, Judaism suggests that evaluating the nature of the people on each side of the decision is essential to finding the right outcome. I'd like to share one example with you of a difficult decision we had to make at school. And this example is particularly provocative because it involves Israel. Let me start by setting the tone on our school culture. Armstrong cares deeply about allowing our faculty and staff to be their true, authentic selves in our workplace. As a former private equity investor, let me just say that this culture has taken a little while to understand and embrace, but I absolutely do embrace it. I firmly believe that faculty are better at teaching students if they really feel safe being themselves. One day, a teacher approached our leadership team and demanded that another member of the faculty remove a sticker from the top of their laptop. My first impression was, lots of people have stickers on their laptops. What's the big deal? She showed us a picture of the sticker. It was the map of Israel, but colored in with the colors of the Palestinian flag. When you go home tonight, you can find a picture of the sticker pretty easily with a Google image search. The first teacher, who was Jewish, found the sticker offensive because she felt it implied that Israel should, as a whole, be Palestinian. The second teacher, I'll call her the sticker teacher, later told us that her Palestinian heritage was important to her. The sticker showed her pride in that heritage and was not meant to offend. She also pointed out that even if the sticker was political in any way, there were lots of people at our school with political stickers on their school laptops, which was, in fact, true. She also noted that in both our school and our country, the Palestinian voice is rarely represented compared to the voices of the Jewish community. I won't walk you through all the ensuing conversations. Needless to say, we tried to bring the parties together to discuss the matter, but actually the Jewish teacher refused to do so. We also reviewed our policies, and no particular policy was on point enough to drive to an answer. Banning all stickers would cause bigger issues. And what about coffee mugs, things in the classroom? There was just no realistic answer in that direction. We had to make a decision, no way around it. And of course, my position was a bit more complicated as a Jewish person with a strong Jewish identity. How does one make a decision when values collide? I'm not going to tell you this is some magical recipe, but here are 3 tests I applied to this decision. Test number 1, look at analogous situations and see if they lend insight. I will note that this is a very Jewish approach. Our people often look to stories in the Torah and accompanying commentaries to help sort out a particular problem or solution or situation. The best I could come up with is the flying of the Confederate flag, which some consider a symbol of Southern heritage and others consider a symbol of slavery and racism. But when I brought up this example, it got nowhere. People around our leadership table had such strong feelings about racism with such little knowledge about Israel and the Middle East that they couldn't make the connection emotionally. This test proved unhelpful. Test number 2, as a leader, evaluate how each side of the decision will impact the norms of your community. This one proved very hard. Many of you, as I did, grew up in more of a command and control type of institution or company. So it's hard for us to weigh how important a safe, open community at work is to so many younger professionals and especially professionals of color. The impact of shutting down an expression of someone's identity, especially someone seen as an underrepresented group, can be really hard on a community. This test leaned towards allowing the sticker. Finally, test number 3. Does either side have a way of achieving their objective without causing harm to the other? I want to be careful not to use the word compromise, because there was no compromise in this situation. This particular sticker was going to be or not going to be on this laptop for all to see. However, our team did discuss that there were other ways the sticker teacher could express their identity, perhaps a sticker of the actual Palestinian flag or something similar. We didn't want to dictate how the sticker teacher expressed their identity, but it did seem like there were alternatives to a sticker that was a visual embodiment of the Hamas calls for, quote, a free Palestine from the river to the sea. This test leaned towards removal of the sticker. I'm not proposing there aren't other tests or other approaches to this and other difficult decisions, nor am I suggesting I really went through the above tests methodically. It's easy to look back and review and categorize your decision making. While I'm very tempted to give you a Sopranos-like ending and not tell you what happened with the sticker, I'm not sure I want 100 people coming up to me after services and asking. In the end, we asked the sticker teacher to remove the sticker. It just felt like the harm of attacking a key part of another group's identity, in this case, Jews and Israel, outweighed the good of allowing people to be their authentic selves. But it was a close call, especially in today's environment. I'll never be quite sure whether some other people in the community felt we made the wrong decision. The sticker teacher actually left the school the year I became head of school, and I'll never know whether this decision was the reason. My hope is this Shabbat, I've challenged all of us to discuss decision-making with those in our lives, particularly young people who look towards your decision-making as a model for how they will make important decisions in their own lives. Shabbat Shalom.
Neil, that was terrific. And thank you for giving us a window into your day-to-day life and how to guide an educational institution, as we're all part of this educational institution. It ain't easy. And it's always good to get wisdom from a Celtics fan, I promise you that. We continue now with the Aleinu on page 282. Please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach Adon hakol, latekedu al yotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 287.
Join with me at the top of the page in English. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Please be seated. The Kaddish is on page 294. And this setting is by Howard Schwartz. It's entitled Gathering the Sparks. Long before the sun cast a shadow, before the word was spoken that brought the heavens and the earth into being, a flame emerged from a single unseen point, and from the center of this flame, sparks of light sprang forth, concealed in shells that set sail everywhere, above and below, like a fleet of ships, each carrying its cargo of light. Somehow, no one knows why, the frail vessels broke open, split asunder, and all the sparks were scattered, like sand, like seeds, like stars. That is why we were created, to search for the sparks, no matter where they have been hidden, and as each one is revealed, to be consumed in our own fire and reborn out of our own ashes. Someday, when the sparks have been gathered, the vessels will be restored, and the fleet will set sail across another ocean of space, and the word will be spoken again. At this time, we remember those of our community and of its families who have died during the past week. Joseph Kaufman, nephew of Arnie Kaufman. Evelyn Gross, grandmother of Dan Gross, great-grandmother of Noah and Elizabeth Gross. And Marion Krasno, cousin of Sheila Lewis. We add to their names the name of Penny Kermit, for whom we observe Shloshim. And we add to their names the names of those for whom we commemorate Yahrzeit this week. Chet Adelberg, Marjorie Baker, Audrey Block, Stephen Bloomfield, Ruth Bloomfield, Carl Abelis Brozik, Lily Budak, Beverly Canali, Maida Weinstein Cooper, Samuel Cutler, Marshall Denenberg, Lynn Eig, Seidel Eisenberg, Harold B. Elsom, Berenice Epstein, Diane Falcione, Lorraine Simmons Fields, Reva Frauman, Joseph Fried, Doris Fromm, Philip Garfinkel, Vanya Geller, Rabbi Joseph Gittin, Carol Green, Ernest Grossman, Regina Guthoner, Louis Handel, Celia Feldman Helpern, Philip Harris, Rachel Harris, May Harrison, Edward Hirschberg, Alvin Holland, Albert Eichel, Bernard M. Janklow, Gladys Kahanovitz, Jesse Kanarek, Julie Kaufman, Fred Kleiman, Benny Cohn, Sophia Korsunkaya, Karen Kosaka, Herbert Kunis, Howard Levin, Norman Marcus, Ruth Marcus, Margot Marmer Moskowitz, Sarah Middleman, Benjamin Maudlin, Dorothy Peterson, Norman Price, Eddie Rich, Edward Reiger, Abram Rosenzweig, Mary Ruvalo, Raylene Serrano, Felix Shapiro, Louis Sonny Sherman, Sam Spall, Joseph Silton, Benjamin Singer, Joel Spirans, Otto Spoler, Max Stevens, Louise Sturp, Beatrice Stone, Max Totter, Jacqueline Tucker, Ilya Vichis, Moishe Vilgo, Sylvia Weiss, and Sheldon Wolf. Are there any other names? Zichronam Livracha. And if you are here as a mourner or in commemoration of a yahrzeit, I invite you to rise first so we may recognize you and extend our support to you. And we now stand with you. And we say these words together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chaye echon v'yomei echon, v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kari v'emeru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh, v'tadar, v'talev, v'talal, shemei dekudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran bi'alma v'yimeru amen. Yehi shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru amen.
Before we conclude our service, we want to remind you that all this month we are collecting tzedakah for the South Palo Alto Food Closet, which began in 1979. And it's housed at Covenant Presbyterian Church in Palo Alto. And it serves area seniors, people living in parks, vehicles and shelters, and other individuals without consistent housing. All funds are used to help subsidize the purchase of food for the food closet. And so we invite you to give, and to give generously online through Venmo, or actually putting some real kesef, some real money, into the tzedakah box in the back. I want to thank Jacob for joining us and for leading us with such beautiful music tonight. And we want to do something a little different for our concluding song tonight. When I look at these white chairs, and with this one aisle running down it, immediately or at least I think of a wedding. And I don't know if they had white chairs in an aisle like this at their wedding 60 years ago. But I want to invite forward Jeff and Julianne Berman to come forward to this spot right here, for they're celebrating their 60th anniversary. And we want to sing to them. They're here with their children. Now, their children, of course, weren't here the first time they walked down the aisle. So as they return to their children, holding hands, turn around, right here in the aisle. You're going to walk down the aisle, and let's join together in singing Siman Tov and Mazel Tov. Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Yehelanu, 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 Ulecho Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulecho Yisrael.
Rabbi Morrison, it's not as exciting as a 60th wedding anniversary, but I have a son who is turning 8 this weekend. So maybe, Ezra, can you join us for Motzi?
Yeah.
Come on up here. An 8-year-old this weekend.
Yay.
And if anyone else is out there under the age of bar mitzvah and want to join us for challah, come on up. So.
Want to come up?
Come on up.
Come on up. Others? All right. You ready? You ready to help us? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Have some.
Will you give some to your brother? Will you give some to your brother? So you can share that one with him. So yeah. It's good.
Thank you.
It was Marusia's birthday yesterday.